This is your Wednesday daily delivery. I am Michael Rand. Glad to have you back for another day in a great week to talk about sports. Twins gave us a little break from talking about how bad they've been against the best teams in baseball, against first-place teams. They were rained out on Tuesday against the Yankees, so doubleheader planned for today, although that sounds like that could be in jeopardy as well based on forecast in New York. Like Royce and I talked about Monday, Louis Varland, North St. Paul native, expected to make his major league debut starting a game the Twins must have. They are a game and a half back now of Cleveland because Cleveland did not get rained out and in fact won on Tuesday. But we got a lot to get to aside from that. Lindsay Whalen, Gophers women's basketball coach, will join me. Talked to her out at the fair last week about the upcoming season and about her induction into the Basketball Hall of Fame. That is Saturday this week, and she had a lot of great perspectives on how she's preparing for that, what that experience she hopes will be like, what it was like to find out she got the call to the Hall, and of course, stuff about the upcoming season as well. So I hope you will enjoy that conversation. We've got a low-level Spygate happening in professional soccer. Want to get to that. And sounds like the Bears continue to want a domed stadium. Imagine that, all the diehards who have ripped the Metrodome over the years or ripped US Bank Stadium now for being inside. That would be a nice little turnabout, but we'll get to that in a minute as well. But first, what did I miss? Got to start with the Vikings, because obviously we're, just a few days away now from the start of the season, 4 days away from Vikings versus Packers. And it just kind of strikes me, I wrote on Tuesday about how we're seeing a lot of comparisons still between Mike Zimmer, the Mike Zimmer era, and the Kevin O'Connell era that is beginning. Some of that sparked by a long piece by Tyler Dunn, who's been on the podcast before. NFL writer, has his own website, his own Substack now, Go Long. And he's written about the Vikings before, written about Mike Zimmer before, but another recent piece, this kind of demonstrating the end of the Zimmer era, and there was something in there that's not surprising at all. It's kind of what we already knew, but just seeing it one more time brings up some thoughts. So in the piece it says, as for Mike Zimmer's view of Kirk Cousins, quote, hated him, one ex-coach says, wouldn't talk to him, it was all bad, end quote. Part of the problem, still reading from the story, was that Zimmer loved Teddy Bridgewater and could never quite get past his career-threatening injury. That's the type of quarterback he liked, one who played off the defense and a run game. Weekly meetings through the 2021 season at Cousins' request helped the relationship a tad, but the two were never close. Contrast that with Ben Gessling's story. You can find that on StarTribune.com today and in your newspaper about the relationship emerging between Kirk Cousins and Kevin O'Connell, or maybe more to the point, continuing because they were together 5 years ago in Washington as quarterback and coordinator. Quote from Kevin O'Connell, he has all the skill set requirements, in my opinion, to play the position at a high level. And then you start learning a bit more about his makeup and when things get difficult, how he's able to handle adversity, how he's able to trust in his preparation and really understand the comfort he'll feel on Sunday is really an investment from Monday through Saturday. Ultimately, what my goal is for him, we take all of that and our previous experience together, and we build something where my relationship with him is minute to minute, day to day. That's night and day, by the way, between what it sounds like the relationship was between Kirk Cousins and Mike Zimmer, now to Kirk Cousins and Kevin O'Connell. Now, we don't know exactly what this means, but I will say this, as pessimistic as I've become about the Vikings prospects this season, just because I don't feel they have great depth at a lot of positions, and I worry that that's going to hurt them again. They're going to need a more honest reckoning of their roster this offseason. I will say this, and I think this is true, because I can see a path for them being a playoff team. If you are optimistic about this team, there's probably two reasons. One, you look at the schedule and you say, hey, 17 games, only 7 true road games, 9 real home games, and then that neutral site game in London. That's favorable, including not a lot of great quarterbacks on the schedule. The second reason you might be optimistic about this season is you believe Kevin O'Connell, you believe the relationship between Kevin O'Connell and Kirk Cousins can somehow extract more from Kirk Cousins than we have seen. And not like Kirk Cousins has been bad, but that Kevin O'Connell can get him to another level. I don't know if communication, I don't know if what he's teaching him, all of the what he wants him to learn about this offense will get Kirk Cousins there. I do know that the relationship between the head coach and the quarterback is starting out from a much better place than it ever did in 2018 when Kirk Cousins arrived here. And like I said, if you are optimistic about this season, I think that is a valid reason to be optimistic. We still need to see how it plays out in the field. We still need to see what the learning curve is for Kirk Cousins picking up this offense, picking up what Kevin O'Connell wants him to do and what he wants him to do differently than he's done in the past. So I don't know if it all works out right away. I don't know if it all works out ever, but I do think that's a valid reason to be optimistic, and it did strike me once again, this comparison between the two coaches. It's not going away. I wrote about that on Tuesday. And perhaps the biggest difference isn't just the handling of all the players, it's the handling of the most important player on the roster.
MGM Wine and Spirits is the choice for savings, service, and a great selection of spirits, premixed cocktails, wines, and of course, ice-cold beers and hard seltzers. With over 30 locations throughout the Twin Cities and beyond, there's an MGM near you. Head to mgmwineandspirits.com to find a convenient location in your area. Get social. Follow MGM on Facebook and Instagram for all the latest news and trends. Make great moments with MGM Wine and Spirits, your locally owned and operated choice for over 50 years. Save time, save money. Shop MGM.
I'm Michael Rand. Lindsay Whalen, Gopher women's basketball coach, legend, going into the Hall of Fame in like a week.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about the season. We're going to talk about the Hall of Fame. We're going to talk about all sorts of stuff. But, Lindsay, welcome. You are, it's kind of funny. I've had, like, a bunch of other people on the stage who are kind of new to Minnesota, like Tim Connolly from the Wolves, their new play-by-play guy. You've probably been to the fair a few times.
I have. Growing up, we came to the fair a few times, but I'm the oldest of 5.
Yeah.
And so at a certain point, that got to be too many people for my parents to just kind of wrangle around. It was just too much going on. So we went a few times early on, and then it kind of just became where my dad would take like me and me and Katie, who we were the oldest two.
How did you get away with that?
Because my mom wanted to stay home and to pack up all the kids and the younger kids and this and that and the other was just too much. So we would come probably like in every other year. We were kind of an every other year group of people. And then when I came to the U, then we do the thing at the U of M tent. So we did that. I did that a few times, at least twice that I remember. And now being back here coaching, I didn't come during when I played. I'm trying to think when I played for the Lynx.
Well, the Lynx you were probably playing overseas a lot during that. No, you were here. That was summer.
Here in the summer playing. Yeah. But it's, you might have a game the next day, or you got to think of, what you're going to be, what you're going to be eating, and being out in the heat and things like that. So I've probably been, I don't know, I'm 40 now, so that's interesting. But
how's that feel?
It feels great. I feel great.
Yeah?
I feel like $1 million bucks. Yep. And hey, Tim. Hey, there's my brother-in-law, Tim, everybody.
Hey, Tim.
And my nephew, Leo. Yeah. Leo, how you doing? Good? I didn't know you guys were going to be here today. Yeah.
That's awesome.
How about that? See?
Family. That's what the fair's all about.
Family affair.
That's what it's all about. I've got my family here today, too. They're walking around.
Okay, but this is about me.
This is about you. Sorry.
So,
yes.
At the end of the day, I'm happy for you, but this is now my time. So,
that's
just
classic.
kidding.
That's classic.
How many kids do you have now?
I have 3.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. 8.
Well, you look
8, 5, and 2.
You look like you look well.
Look like I have more than 3 kids. Is that what it looks like?
You look good. You're doing well.
I'm 45, almost 46 now. How
does that feel?
Not great. Not as good as 40.
40 feels great.
Feels like 40 would have been.
40 feels great.
Like 40 didn't feel great at the time, but it feels like
no, I'm
I'd
having
take
a great
40
time.
now.
I'm having a great time.
That's true. Like, you know a lot of stuff when you're 40, and you're still, you know.
I think I do. Yeah. That's, you know, that's that. But, yeah, no, so I've probably been to the fair maybe 15 times.
Okay, that's a lot.
And, yeah, now I come every year, and we, you know, come here and go to a couple other places and kind of hit up the usual spots. So it's kind of the kickoff to it's a fun time of year, and school's starting, and football games and volleyball games and soccer games and cross country meets and all that stuff is going on. So it's a fun time of year, and this always kind of feels like the kickoff to what we do. And we start practice on the 6th with preseason practice. We have preseason for about 3 weeks, and then we start our 20 hour a week on the 26th of September. So
you know, different from when you played, you were in the gym with the players were in the gym for like 8 weeks this summer, and you had a chance to do some stuff with them at that point, right?
Yeah.
And so how much of a head start did they give you? I mean, this feels like a year where there are some expectations. There's this big incoming class, and unfortunately one of those players got hurt this summer, Nia Holloway, but you still have a lot of really talented young players coming in and meshing with some of the players you have coming back. How did you feel like the summer work went?
So I felt like it went well, and so we moved in. We had our 4 freshmen and 5 transfers, and so everybody moved in essentially the first weekend of June, and then we had that first week where we just did a lot of new faces. Sure. So we spent most of the spring recruiting the transfer portal. Yeah. And getting and filling our roster. So a lot of it was. We had a lot of disappointments and people getting used to campus and getting used to the Twin Cities area. So we took that first week and we didn't have any workouts. So we had meetings and a lot of school started, summer school started, and then the week after that we started with our 8 weeks. And so we went through 3 weeks. I gave them the week after the 4th off. Okay. And then we went 5 straight weeks, actually into August. We just finished our summer workouts 2.5 weeks ago. Wow. And I did that because the last few years I found that if we just go 8 straight weeks and we finish the first week of August, then it's like 4.5, 5 weeks. Yeah. Because we start school so late. So you got to think most of who we play, Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, Northwestern, all those teams, they've started school on the 22nd. Okay, so 2 weeks earlier than you. So they're in workouts. Okay. So I talked to one of the coaches at Lehigh who we play them in non-conference. They've been working out for 2 weeks. Okay. So really, we wanted to extend our summer into August, not have as much time off now, give a little more time off in May, June, especially as we were like rebuilding the roster. And it was a great summer. We did some fun stuff. Went to a Lynx game, and went to Sylvia's. How'd you get tickets? Went to Sylvia's last game. Okay. And so we went there as a team. We played. We went to Top Golf. Okay. We had a couple barbecues, and it was good. It was all in all a really good summer. I think they enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Our staff enjoyed it. So it was fun. So undefeated this year? Is that what you're telling me? Well, just kidding. Yeah. Well, you know what? And we always have high expectations. I want to go to the NCAA tournament every year. Yeah, for sure. I mean, why not? What are we? Where we've, obviously you touched on the Hall of Fame, and I had a great playing career, and I had a lot of success. Was a part of a lot of successful teams, won a lot, and now is now a new challenge and a new thing for me. New era is coaching, and this is year 5. Hard to believe it's year 5, and figuring things out, figuring out some of what has worked and seeing with that, some of what didn't, and kind of tweaking that, and also navigating rule changes kind of left and right with the NCAA, but the goal is always to make the NCAA tournament. The goal is to finish, top half of the Big Ten, because that gets you in the NCAA tournament, and obviously bigger goals than that. But ultimately, that's every season. Those are our goals, and that's what we're always going to strive for. Watch that fly. There's a bee just landed on my microphone. That's not good. Get away from me. Yeah, if they keep adding teams to the Big Ten, top half might not be good enough to get into the
tournament if they go to 20 teams eventually. But no, the expansion is kind of fun.
It actually will, though.
It probably will, yeah, because it's still going to be that good.
Because you'll still. I mean, if there's 20 teams in the conference, 10 are probably going to go, maybe 11.
10 are worthy, yeah, especially if it's USC and UCLA coming in.
Who knows where any of this? I mean, we're just speculating that who knows where any of it's really all going. But I mean, with UCLA and UCLA in the Big Ten, I mean, those are two really good basketball. I mean, UCLA went to the NCAA tournament last year. Lindsay Gottlieb is the head coach at USC now. She's been to many NCAA tournaments and done really well at Cal. Yeah, was an assistant coach with the Cleveland Cavaliers for a while. So, two other really good women's basketball coaches in our conference. Eventually, whenever that's all going to take place. I mean, you and I don't know, but or they said 2 years from now. But
they're saying 2024. We'll see.
Yeah, so we'll see, but we got a great group. That's the thing that we can control is day to day, what we're doing, how are we getting better, how are we making sure that this is a great experience for, we've talked a lot about our incoming freshmen, but how can we make this a great experience for everybody, no matter how many years that they have on this team, and that's what we strive to do every day.
I'm sure I've asked you this before as you kind of evolved into this role, but like, what are the things you've learned the most in your 5 years? Because it was a sudden transition from playing. You even coached and you weren't even done playing when you took this job. Do you ever think about, wow, that was a busy time? But as you think about what you've learned and lessons you've brought into this so far, what comes to mind?
Well, I think like anything, it's people, and it's the people that you have, not only players on the team, but the people that were, our organization. If you think of our staff, which is, 7, 8, people. And then there's an extension of that staff, and then there's our players, and then there's extension of having people and having everybody be striving for that common goal and be doing everything. Coach Shimmy says this a lot, and I've learned a lot from Coach Shimmy, but just being very intentional. Yeah. And that word's been really big for us. And I think it's something where I might have something in my head that I think is just like, it should just be like that. Okay. But understanding like how to teach it, how to communicate it is something that I think that I continue to get better at and work at. But it's something that is, until you do it, you never, if you, you might know how you want to guard a pick and roll coverage or how you want to play a certain play. It's another thing to be able to teach it to a group of people. So I think and that just comes with reps and experience and all those things and some trial and error. So, but everything comes down to people. It comes down to people who want to put the work in, who want to do the extra, who want to go the extra mile. And we have a really, really solid staff and group of players and support staff and administration that's what they're about. And so that's what ultimately, when we go to the NCAA tournament, that's what we'll look back on and be like, why did that happen? It's going to be because everybody was pulling in the same direction at the same time, all pulling for each other.
NCAA tournament was one of the first big moments of your playing career when you took the Gophers to the Final Four in 2004. It only gets better from there. Hall of Fame now, Lindsay. When you got the call or however they notified you that you had made it, and this is your first year of eligibility, so that's a pretty big deal. What was that reaction like?
So I was in my COVID quarantine.
Yeah, sorry.
And so they tell you, they're like, you're on the, you're on the list. There's this vote, this, that, the other. They'll call you on this day around noon. And so they called me like a week before. And there was a lot of build-up because they released, so here's the nominations, here's the finalists. And, so, I mean, I don't want to say I wasn't expecting it, but I was happy, and I was, it was kind of like, I can't believe this, I can't believe this happened. The big thing is I was like, I couldn't wait to tell my parents. Yeah. And tell Ben, but mostly, my parents have been at everything with me for all these years, so that was going to be, the next big call and things like that.
Was that like a goal of yours growing up? I mean, is this even like something that you thought was attainable? How do you think about an honor like that?
So not growing up, definitely not growing up. I was just trying to figure out, what was tomorrow. But I
those are my kids there.
Hey, I feel like I know those people.
You probably see them on social media sometimes.
Oh yeah, is that your that's your family, right?
Those are my people, yeah.
Okay, hey guys, how's it going? Your dad's doing a good job. He's doing a great job. Looks like they're. What are those? You guys got some suckers, huh? Some candy.
Nice.
They're gonna be.
That
ride home is the ride home is gonna be fun.
It's free range here.
So where were we?
Just kind of talking about like, was this a goal? Like, when did this? How do you even think about the Hall of Fame or conceptualize?
Growing up, no. My last few years playing, once you kind of see others that were getting in, and what they had accomplished.
Contemporaries of yours, or
yeah. So you start to watch their speeches and the enshrinement and everything, and then it kind of was like, then going into my last few years, it's something that I, kind of figured to have a little more success, whether it was on the Olympic team or that last 2017 championship team.
Right.
I kind of thought about that might do it. That might be something that would get me in, and thankfully it happened. And so at the end of my career, it was something that I wanted to do and wanted to achieve, and wanted to be there. I'm competitive. I mean, I love the game, and so I'm excited.
I feel like we in the media spend a lot of time thinking about other people's legacies, but I'm always curious how much athletes think about their own legacies, or if it's kind of in the past tense once you're done playing and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, you think about on occasion, but it was more or less something that I thought about probably just my last few years of my career, and that would be kind of a national thing. And you think about the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame and the international thing. I mean, there's players from all over the world that are in, and so to make that was, especially towards the end of my career, a lot of. It was something before I came to the Lynx and before I've been on any Olympic teams. It wasn't something that was even on my radar at all. But then as you get older and you kind of start to, just see other people getting in, it's something that you start to think about a little bit more.
What about? Do you know the logistics of the weekend yet? I mean, it's coming up pretty soon. Do you know what that'll be like? Logistics
has been my. Well, it's not. Well, it's somewhat. I don't mind it. But the logistics has been just inviting who you want to invite, who you want to bring out. You get a certain allotment of tickets and things, and you get a certain amount of flights and hotel rooms. And I've got a big family, as I mentioned. That's why we stopped coming to the fair, because I have so many brothers and sisters. So that's a lot of people to. Luckily, Melissa Maines, who's sitting right here, has been a huge help. And my sister's been a help. My mom's been a help. Ben hasn't done no, I'm just kidding. Ben has been a help. Where's Tim? No, Ben has been a big help. We're all gonna fly out. Hey, how you doing? Hey. So we're all gonna fly out. So school starts on Tuesday. I don't know if you know this, but I coach at the U of M.
I heard about that.
I'm the head coach at the U of M.
That's your day job.
So we start school on Tuesday.
That's inconvenient.
I'll be there. We're gonna have some meetings. We're gonna get everything going, and then we're gonna practice on Tuesday because I want to run the team. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna practice Tuesday. Then I'm actually gonna fly out. Are you listening? I'm actually gonna fly out Wednesday.
Okay.
And we're gonna go to dinner, and this is just my immediate family. Essentially, we're all gonna go to dinner at this Italian place because I don't know if you know this, but I played for the Connecticut Sun.
Heard about that, too.
And did you know that they play at the Mohegan Sun Casino?
Yes.
That's where we're staying.
Okay.
So there's an Italian restaurant that I'm a big, big fan of that we're all going to go there, eat, have a nice Italian dinner. And actually, somebody just texted me who's going to be out there that's coming to the party on Thursday.
Is this a who's who?
Oh, big time. So Wednesday's just family.
Okay.
And then Thursday, there's a bunch of different things going on, and then Thursday night we're having a dinner. And then Thursday night we're gonna have kind of a little, everybody who's able to make it out, a little bit of a private party type situation, but more extended, right?
Yeah.
Friday is a whole bunch of more things, activities. I think that's when we get our rings and our jackets. There's a press conference. Saturday morning we go from Mohegan Sun up to Springfield because I don't know if you know this, but Springfield is where the Hall of Fame is.
I've heard about that.
Springfield is not where the Mohegan Sun Casino is. So
not huge either.
Talk about logistics. It's an unbelievable feat to pull this thing off. So.
Yeah, sounds like logistically a challenge.
So it is. It has been, but it'll be fun. And I've been texting with my classmates, Swing Cash and like Teresa Grants, Marianne Stanley, and those guys to. Everybody has then their like private party and to celebrate them. So we're doing ours early. We're gonna have a Thursday night, just kind of extended people that are out there, and then a couple other people are having some things like Friday and Saturday after that. I'll go and say hi and celebrate them. And it's fun because you kind of get close to the people you're going in with because they're really the only, they're the only other, there's 9 of us. So there's the only other 8 people that really know just all of what, like your speech and who you have to thank and this and that and the other and making sure you invited everybody. So we've gotten close throughout this process, which has been fun. I just talked for a long time. You talked for a while.
Well, I'm going to ask you a couple more things and then I'm going to let you go because I know you got one more of these to do. Charles Barkley and is it Don Staley are introducing you or are your presenters?
Yes. I thought you were going to talk for a while.
How'd that come about? Nope, it's you. It's all you. You told me to pay attention. You told me this is about you.
Okay. So Don Staley, she's somebody, so you have to pick a living member of the Hall of Fame. And so that's kind of one of the things. They give you this list of people who are living and in the Hall of Fame. And it's really not a big list. And so there's a few people on there that I know personally. And one of them is Don. And so being point guards, played against her, looked up to her. She was on the 96 team that started the women's basketball, national team dynasty. So she was a part of, I think, 4 gold medals.
Wow.
I was a part of 2 teams. So I kind of felt like that was a fun connection already. She's done so much for our game, and she's somebody who has taken South Carolina to what she's done now, 2 national championships. And so just to be, just be around her and everything that she's done and everything she's accomplished, I thought it would be just cool if she would do me the honor, right?
Yeah.
Because you got to ask them, and they can say no. Then
that'd be humbling.
It would be, but you know what? You ask somebody a question, there's a couple answers, and one of them could be no. That's what it is, and you got to move on. So then, my favorite player of all time growing up was Charles Barkley, and I loved those Phoenix Suns teams, and growing up, I wanted to be a power forward. I really did. That was going to be my position. And then I stopped growing.
Yeah.
I couldn't jump. And I was slow.
Yeah.
And so I had to figure it out. I had to be point guard. But he was still my favorite player. So Melissa Maines, she worked at Auburn. And I don't know if you know this, but Charles Barkley went to college at Auburn.
I've heard that, yes.
So she got his number for me. And it took me about 3 days to actually send the text that I sent to him. And I was like, I'm not going to call him because, he probably gets these, calls all the time.
Sure.
And I was like, so he's not going to pick up. And then, so I texted him.
What'd you text? Can you tell me what was in the text? Was it like brief? Was it long? What was it?
It was mid-sized.
A mid-sized text.
It was a mid-sized SUV text.
Okay.
And I actually deleted it because I'll find it because it's in, you can get any message. But here's the problem. I texted it to him, and then I was just like, he's not going to respond back. I waited a whole day, and then I just finally, I just got it off. I just deleted it because, he's never going to text me back. And then that night he texted me back. And so I got to go back, and I got to get to his response and get what I said again. And it was somewhere along the lines of, hi, and I called Don because I know. But then Charles, I just texted him because I figured, hey, this is Lindsay Whalen. I'm going in, and you start off with, hey, going to the Hall of Fame, be honored, this and that. So he instantly wouldn't just delete it, And he said yes. He said he'd be honored, and he said he'd be happy to do it. And I think he's presenting 2 people. I think he's presenting Tim Hardaway too.
Okay.
They told me to get 5 people, but honestly, that's not my style. I only wanted to really ask one.
Okay.
But they're like, you have to have 2, and so I was like, all right, I'm gonna go for 2, just because I don't want too many people. It's just it's a lot. So anyway, I want those 2.
That's awesome. Well, final question on that lines, and I'll let you go. I mean, do you have much of your speech done? What are you going to say? Are you going to go for comedy? Are you going to go for the heart? Where are you going with it?
So what I do is I try to have a balance. And so I try to have a good message. I gotta thank my parents. And I gotta thank Ben. And so these are my main stories. And then I'm gonna have a message. And that's it's not gonna be long because you have to keep it under 5 minutes.
Oh, that's pretty tight. Okay.
It is. And then you got to think you get up there and you got to read it off so it's a teleprompter. I got to make sure my pauses are good for extreme laughter from everybody. But, I mean, yeah, we'll see. It's done. I've been practicing it. And, so I feel good about it. Now it's just obviously like practicing. And I think one of the things that we have that's kind of slotted in is you have time to go over to the venue and rehearse it. So I'll go and rehearse it, I think, on Friday where you're there and reading it off the teleprompter. So by the time I'll have rehearsed it, or by the time I'll read it on Saturday night, I'll probably have rehearsed it, I don't know, probably 15, 20 times at that point. So I'll probably be sick of it at that point.
I'm sure you do great. It's an awesome honor for you. Well deserved.
Thank you, guys.
Lindsay Whalen, Gopher women's basketball coach, newest inductee into the National Basketball Hall of Fame. That'll be September 10th. Lindsay, thanks for joining us here on the Start Tribune stage.
Thank you, guys.
Always
Go
good
Gophers.
to see you.
Loved catching up with Lindsay Whalen. Always do. Her team starts workouts this week. Official practices not too far away. And then, of course, she's got big plans this weekend, as she talked about, for the induction into the Basketball Hall of Fame. That should be a great weekend for her family, for all the basketball friends she has. And I wish her, obviously, the best of success and happiness in that weekend. And good luck this season, too, because this is a big one for her and the Gophers. Let's finish up with a couple stories that caught my eye. I think I've talked about this before, but the Bears apparently want a dome now. They released a plan for a best-in-class dome. I think they're trying to build it out in the suburbs, right, out in Arlington Park. 326 acres, the conceptual plan released for that. It'll be one of, quote, the largest development projects in Illinois state history. Of course, all of these things now have a lot of, stuff around them. It's not just a football stadium. So they've got, they're kind of lurching towards a potential out of Soldier Field. It says in the ESPN.com story, the Bears' lease at Soldier Field runs through 2033, but the team can end the lease as soon as 2026 for an estimated $84 million, which in the modern NFL, is not all that much. So their time in Chicago, their time at Soldier Field could be coming to a close after just 4 more seasons. That would be interesting. It'd be interesting to see them leave Chicago and head out for the suburbs. So we'll see how that all plays out. More interesting to me was this story about spying. A spying claim between 2 soccer teams getting ready to play in the U.S. Open Cup. Orlando City accused of spying on Sacramento Republic. Sacramento Republic filed a complaint with the U.S. Soccer Federation. Apparently Orlando, a staffer from Orlando City, and Orlando City is a Major League Soccer team, and Sacramento playing in the lower level USL Championship League. From the story, it sounds like Orlando sent a staff person out to a practice that Sacramento was holding in basically like a public park, And I'm just going to read this sentence because this is amazing. From ESPN.com story. The Orlando staffer, whose sources told ESPN was recognized by a Sacramento Republic equipment manager as having a connection to Orlando manager Oscar Pareja, was asked multiple times to leave over the course of a 30 to 45-minute period. The staffer insisted he was there to meet a friend who was coaching on a nearby field. Republic staff even went so far as to park 2 vans in front of the individual to obscure his view of training, only to have him move to another location before finally departing. I don't know what to do with this story, but the match is tonight. Probably some bad blood between the two teams, so we'll watch that. This is a very low-level Spygate, not on the New England Patriots level, but this story amuses me more than anything. We'll see if anything more comes of it. That will do it for today. Hope you enjoyed today's show. We will be back at it again on Thursday.